everyone, welcome to my live stream. My name is Denise Hutchins and I'm broadcasting to you from Studio Mikarts. Our charity of the month is Animal Alliance Asia, and there are a couple ways you can help me help them help the animals. One, take a look at their website. I've posted a link in my chat here. I've also put a link in my Twitch About description, and if you're watching this on YouTube as a recording, it will be in the description there. And, wait, did I say what to do? Take a look and make a donation. That's how you can help them. Or if you can't make a donation, don't worry. Just watch my streams and bring your friends this month, because I'll be making my own donation based on my unique viewers count at the end of the month. It is Thursday, which means it's time for some more illustration. I have done just as I said yesterday, left my project here exactly as it was at the end of yesterday's stream, and I'm ready to just jump right back in. I guess I'll introduce in case anyone is unfamiliar with what I'm working on. So what I've just removed are the sketches that I'm keeping available to look at for reference for the Hunt's bumblebees that I'm drawing. And this clipboard has my final composition sketch, which was done on a piece of printer paper with a tracing paper overlay using marker, and I've been adding this blue pencil to make notes as I've created the final drawing here. And I'm using my little SpongeBob in a Krabby Patty burger mobile to hold this clipboard up because it keeps wanting to slide down. Hopefully today it'll be great if we can get to some inking so that you can actually see this well. But the camera is cooperating really well so far, and you can actually see the blue line drawings right now. So enjoy that while it lasts, because the camera will probably adjust as my hands get more in the scene. But I'm going to be adding the flowers next. I've added all the bees. I got that done yesterday. So now we're going to add the flowers that they are exploring and flying around. Once we do that, that should be everything that needs ink. So everything that will use line to be depicted. Everything else I'll do when I color it on the computer. So I'm going to do my best to get all the flowers in the scene today, because I would love to start inking so that you can actually see well what I'm doing here on stream. And another reason is that I would love to be able to send the final inked version, or at least a version of the final ink, because I usually edit it some in Photoshop as well, but the final physical work as Patreon awards this month. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm really stumbling over my words today. The first thing I'm going to do is go into the iNaturalist app, which I believe I have a login for, because I originally used iNaturalist, and this is what it's mostly used for, to identify plants when I moved to where I live now. And there were so many plants I didn't know what they were. What you can do is take a picture and then submit it, and people will identify it for you. So that's the main thing that iNaturalist is used for. But recently I realized, wait, this is a great way to see what different plants and animals and stuff look like. So let's see. I wrote it here, wavy leaf thistle. Maybe I'll search the Latin name, Cirsium undulatum. Cirsium undulatum. I specially chose this plant. All right, well, it's not finding the scientific name, so we'll just put wavy leaf thistle. I picked this because apparently Hunt's bumblebees enjoy this plant, and also it is I don't know if it's native to here, but it is here. And I picked Hunt's bumblebees because they're here. Where I am, I see them every year and they bring me such delight. So that's why I picked them to represent bees. Huh, it says no results found. So maybe it's just, maybe the app is having trouble. I'm going to, okay, I went to explore in this app. Now I'll try this again. Wavy leaf thistle. There we go. And there is the Latin name too. I guess I was just searching in a weird place or something on the app. I don't know where I was searching, why it wasn't working. Oh, it's searching in my location. I would like it just to be anywhere. Global. There we go. Wonderful. So this is what happens if you search on there. With the Hunt's bumblebees, it was fine to search local because there were tons of them. But this, it's easier to identify a bee than to identify a sort of weed-looking plant like this. It is really cool looking, though. The wavy leaf part of it is really cool. It's like, it's really energetic and powerful looking. But right away, here's a great image of a close-up on the flower part. So we can start with this. So I'm gonna, this little fellow is supposed to be on a flower. So this could be a great one because we can see lots of details. It's like the flower is a bunch of little flowers all together in a cluster. So yeah, this seems like it could be perfect to be the seat for this bee here. I don't know if I pointed it out this stream, but I have indicated here where I want the flowers to be. That's what these lighter gray circles are. Because I was planning not just the placement of the bees, but the placement of the flowers, so that we have a pattern that seems rather organic, but still has a satisfying spacing to it. Paper's trying to fly away. No paper, you stay up here on the desk. I'm going to zoom in on this picture. So it's like got waves. There's an inner cluster. In the very center, there's these little circle bits that don't even look like flowers. They look like the inside part of a flower. But then the parts that look like flowers making up a flower are in kind of rings. There's like one, then another one, then an even wider one, and then a fourth one. And the fourth one seems to have really, really long tubes sticking out too. So I will draw this in circles, but now I'm trying to think, how big should the flower be compared to the bee? Because there are some beetles on this thistle, but it seems like, I don't know why it seems this way, but it seems like they're smaller than the bumblebees. Well, at least right here, we should definitely have, oh, but if with these tube flowers, I don't know how they, hold on. I need to figure this out. Where would the bee be interested in on this flower? That's what I'm trying to figure out, because these tubey flowers, maybe that's what they're interested in, and they're not as much interested in the middle. I'm going to look for some other pictures. Maybe they have bugs on them, and I can see where the bugs are interested in. Oh yeah, this one has a spider on it. I don't know if the spider is eating the flower, though. I think the spider is just hanging out, hoping someone else will come. Laying in wait is what you call that. Alright, no bugs on that one. Oh, here's a bunch of them. No bugs, though. This is a good reference to keep in mind. They don't all have to be blooming. Some could be just, let me see, I can show you this better. Some can be pre-bloom. My Studio Mikarts Discord announcement just popped up there. That's what that was. Oh, no bugs. Need some bugs on them. It's awesome that the very first picture in this gallery has the bugs right on. 'Cause none of these so far... Oh, there's the one with the spider, but that's it. Oh, this one has a grasshopper on. I don't know if the grasshopper could get to the middle, though. They also eat differently than bees do, so they might eat a different part of the plant anyway. It'd be cool if we could find one with bees actually on it. I might just have to make a best guess if I can't find any actual examples. So I do want this to be heavily informed by nature, because the visuals that I'm going for are completely unnatural. I'm making everybody rainbow crayon colors. And of course they're all chibified. So I'm trying to get the naturalistic backbone to support that wild look. My Garmin wants me to be more active. Not right now, Garmin. Busy. Oh, here's the bugs on one. Yay! Oh, and they're more beetles, but I think that's closer to bees the way they eat. I think they probably have a little proboscis or something. So this beetle is not, and it looks like there's a grasshopper here too. Oops, I'm not holding that for you, sorry. There's a grasshopper here, and there's some sort of beetle here, and this beetle is clearly not interested in the middle of the flower. They're going after these long tube-like bits of the flower. Oh, here's a bee! Here's an actual bee! Oh, it's a bunch of them! Hooray! Well, I guess it doesn't matter. It looks like there's one in the middle, right on top, and then, well, it's hard to see on the stream, but these are two more bees on the side here. So I think they eat all over, from all over it. Oh, thank you, person. Thank you, Sean B2. That's the username of the person who submitted this. Oh, there's more in the series. This person's the best. Here they are. All over the thistle. These look like some other, they don't look like a bumblebee, so I think they're smaller. So I might be able to use that as a reference, sort of rough guide, since I don't know what kind of bee they were. But bumblebees tend to be big. So, oh, this one has a butterfly. This is so pretty. Ooh. Yum, yum. Yeah, they love these long tube flowers because they can put their tube mouth into the flower and get the num-noms at the bottom. Okay, I think that's good. That's enough information for me to make something up that has at least some basis in reality for this image. Ah, the picture's not coming back that I was looking at. Okay, I remembered which one it was. It wasn't loading. Alright, so we're back to this close-up. This awesome close-up image of this thistle flower. And it's so cute. The flowers come out in a sort of star shape. So they're long, and then they have a, oh, I can't do my hand right, but they have a nice star shape bloom on the end. Alright, here we go. I just moved this up, but then I remembered, oh yeah, I want it down so I can reach right here. So let's have the middle part be right about here. And since I've got the bee turned to this side, I'm going to have it eating from the side. Then let's say the first layer of flowers is about here. I'm just going to mark these circles first, and then I will draw the details. So I'm just seeing it's like an inner ring of flowers, and it's almost like they haven't bloomed outward yet, so they're still bent in. Then there's another one, and it's not perfect. It's not like, oh, this is definitely circle 1, circle 2. There's, you know, some in between and movement. Like, it's very organic. But in general, seeing the 1, then 2. Then the next ring of flowers is so far out that it's actually turned. So instead of sticking straight up, it's now sticking to the side. So that makes it stick out farther because of perspective. Because as you can see, my hand looks really tiny when it sticks up, but when it sticks out to the side, it doesn't even fit on the screen anymore. Same thing happening with these flowers. So this circle is way bigger. That's what I'm getting at. As far as the area it takes up on my paper. So drawing these flowers is going to probably take a lot longer than I hoped, because this is taking a long time just to figure this out. But I'm doing the biggest ones first. This is probably the biggest flower in the scene. So it might be like the bees were, where the big ones took a long time and like you're figuring out the general idea of it and everything, but then it starts to get easier because they're smaller and because you're used to drawing them. Okay, then there's a final circle. And it's not really final because it looks like it actually keeps going down like this. But there's just generally another edge I'm seeing sticking out even farther. Okay, so now I've got those circles figured out. What I'm going to do is draw bit by bit. So we've got these little, oops, I'm not holding that right. We've got these little teeny circles in the middle. Then this first ring that's still sort of blooming, so it's tilted inwards. And then there's these nice star-like ones for this row. I think it'll probably be best if I draw what doesn't seem covered first, and then the more it gets covered, the later it will be drawn, so that I don't have to do any erasing. And I am going to be simplifying these shapes. So I don't want it to be confusing to look at. Trying to figure out what I'm seeing. I think there's those 5 petals, and then there's something coming out of the middle. It's not just a hole, there's like a tube coming out. Flowers are so much more complex than we are culturally led to believe. Oh, hello, Divine Pathways! How are you? First time chat, thank you for joining me. The pistil of the flower. It could be, because this is a cluster flower. So I'm looking at this. It's the thistle. And so we do have this main middle part, and it looks like a big flower with petals, but instead of petals, it's actually all of these teeny tiny little tube flowers, and they all have this long bit, and the farther down on the flower it is, the longer the long bit is. And then toward the middle, it's much shorter. So that might be what it is. Tiny flowers, yep. Thank you for joining me today. How are you doing? First time chat. I'm so glad that you decided to chat with me today. Love thistles. Yeah, they're so cool. They get huge here. Maybe they get huge everywhere, but the ones I see when I go out on the trails and stuff, they get taller than me later in the summer. I'm not that tall, but I'm also not short, so I'm an average height, but the thistles are like 6 feet tall by the end of the summer. I feel like I'm even seeing little teeny tiny boops on the end of these. So I'll add those in. Oh, thank you for following me for so long. That's okay. You don't have to apologize. I don't want anyone to feel obligated to do anything. I love chatting, but I also love just sharing my artwork with everyone. That's the main reason I started streaming. So I am so happy that I've been able to share with you for so long. I'm trying to make these flowers different. Each one different. But I don't need them to be the star of the show. Haha, the star, because they look star-shaped. They don't need to be the star of the show. So I also want them to just look, I'm trying to strike a balance here between it being really, each one is unique and it looks organic and naturalistic, but also not so interesting that it steals the spotlight. And also as we move along, I'm looking at this image, this view changes as you go around because we're not looking straight on. It's slightly tilted. So now we got to start drawing it from the side more. Something like that. Actually, as we get over to this side, it gets really hard to even see them at all. Part of it is because it's covered by a beetle. And I'm also seeing some are a little bit more closed. I'll have the more closed ones be closer to the middle. Because I imagine what happens is that it slowly opens, and then the farther down they are, the longer they've been around, so they've been able to open much bigger. Alright, and I was trying to draw, this is going to be really hard. I'm going to have to do erasing. This is really hard. Flowers are so complicated. I was trying to minimize the amount of erasing I have to do. So I'm going to come back down here and start drawing this next inner part. These ones are much more closed. They're mostly sticking up. They still have that middle bit, but it's like this. And they're all up together. I think something I can do is leave a little bit up to the imagination. It doesn't have to be each individual flower is drawn from beginning to end, and you can see exactly where it attaches to the main plant and all this stuff. If I mostly just get the idea in there, I think that'll be enough. So too many lines will make this too busy anyway, and it'll do exactly what I was saying I'm trying to avoid, which is take too much attention away from the bees. Yes, exactly. Just the impression. I want it to be recognizable as a thistle and not as some generic flower, but it's the supporting character for sure, not the main character at all. That big sigh just now was Aoife. My Aoife girl. She did a big sigh. She does that all stream all the time. She is sighing. She loves being in here and going to work with me, though. If I don't let her in, she'll knock on the door until I do. She likes to go to work. So what is the focus if not the flower? The focus will be the bees. And I think they will be even stronger once we get this digitized, because I'm going to be adding their wings. So not this fellow. This fellow is one of the few that's actually landed on a flower. Sorry you can't really see it because of the blue pencil. But in the end, they should be the main focus. And once we get the wings in, the wing effect for flying, which we added digitally, I think that they will be even better able to compete with all the detail in the flowers. Ultimately, this is part of my animal onomatopoeia piece. No, this is a piece in my animal onomatopoeia series. So this scene, anywhere there's not flower or bees, is going to be filled with like manga, comic style onomatopoeia sounds in both English and Japanese, because what I'm working on is an illustrated book that teaches English and Japanese animal onomatopoeia. So now I'm on the bees. So really the whole focus of this illustration is the sound that the bees make, and being an extremely beautiful way of teaching it, because having studied Japanese for so long, and there's lots of illustrations in the Japanese textbooks, and they do their job. They teach you, they get the point across. But what I'd like to do is create sort of a collector's piece, because what got me into learning Japanese was the beautiful artwork of anime, manga, and video games. So this is a teaching book where the art is the priority. Oh, Sarah is here too. Hello! Thank you for joining me. Did you get your washer and dryer? Also, thank you. Thank you so much for subscribing. 18 months. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's see. I'm going to look at this. Okay. So yeah, the focus is the bees, but they're not very visible right now because of this blue. Oh, Aoife's doing another big sigh. Sub hype. Woo! Those explosions. Holy crap. Delivered next week. Yay, good. Sometimes I write, so every night I write 4 things I'm grateful for at the bottom of my planner. And sometimes I just write laundry machines because I'm so grateful to have something that washes my clothes for me. It does a good job, and it's really easy to use. I think it's important to be grateful for those things that are so easy to take for granted. So I'm excited for you to get the new washer and dryer. And I've had times in my life where I've had to go to the laundromat, so I really, truly am grateful to have laundry hookups at my home and the machines, and they work. And I can just put it in. I don't have to go anywhere. Just put it in and then go do other stuff while it's running. Oh, yeah. 3 hours. Wow. I mean, I use air dry a lot, but usually what I do is I put it in for a dry cycle, then it's usually a little bit damp still, and so I just use the residual heat. I just put it on air dry and let the residual heat so it's not heating because it's already still warm. But having to do it only from air dry, yeah, that takes so much energy probably. Compared to, well, I don't know. Maybe it takes the same amount of energy as heating. But that's still 3 hours of your time trying to get a load of laundry dry. Ah. I'm reading your other message. I mean, I'm grateful for laundromats too, because when I think of the way people had to do laundry before, even that's better. So I'm still grateful for all of these modern conveniences, including laundromats, but I'm glad I don't have to go to laundromat anymore. Okay. Now I feel ready to add more flowers to this back part. I'm really excited for when this is done because I feel like it's already looking pretty cool. The shapes I've got on here now with the bee, it's looking pretty good. We do have this middle part. I guess I can draw it now. So this middle part's interesting. I don't know if it's little tiny buds that will eventually become more of these tube flowers, but they're not just circles. They have a sort of X-like pattern in the middle. So I'll just draw a bunch of circles and then draw X's in them. They're kind of like star shapes, which makes sense because if they are flowers for these little tube flowers, 5 coming together would make a star shape. This is fun, just drawing a bunch of circles. It's low pressure. Time consuming though. Okay, I'm gonna reinforce some of the lines for this bee, so that they don't get lost as I'm drawing the flower buds next to it. So actually a bunch of these lines are going to end up being inked with little dashes because it's fuzzy. It's supposed to be a very fuzzy, adorable bumblebee. But for now it's just straight line because that's easier. Just going to fill in this whole circle with little tiny circles. And some need to go behind the legs, because they shouldn't be all perfectly placed so that there's no overlap. We want that overlap. I would reinforce the line for the antenna. It's getting lost. Okay, there. That looks pretty good. Maybe another one here, just so it's a little more circus, get kind of a straight line right there. So we'll add a little one here, there. Overall, it's a nice circle shape. So we've got this star shape in here. I'm not going to add it to every single one. So that will do more of what I've been trying to avoid, which is bring too much attention to the flower when the flower is just a supporting character in multiple senses of the word, because it's supporting the bee. Which is also just supporting the illustration and making it more interesting. And the nice thing is about this series, since I finish it all in Photoshop and Clip Studio Paint anyway, I can always add more if it seems like I need more. Let's call that enough for now, and then we'll see what it looks like after we draw more stuff. So, what's next? Just drawing more of these flowers. They change in shape as we're going through these different sort of circles. It's way more organic than I'm describing it, but the farther out you get, the bigger these flowers are, and the longer that little tube is that's coming out of the middle. They're also laying down more because it comes out in sort of a sphere shape. Me too. I've been saying that the whole time. Yep, sorry about that. Here, I'll show you a close-up, at least, of what I've done so far. Sorry it's so hard to see. It's sad because that's the whole point. That's the whole point of this. You know what, though? I will bring this camera down, and maybe that'll at least help. I can try to get it to focus. Focus on my hand, please. Thank you. So maybe that's a little bit better. I'm going to move this lamp so it's not casting a shadow. A shadow. So the camera is so far down now. I'm going to pull this down. Oh, hopefully you can see better what I'm working on. But yeah, that was my hope today, was to get to the point where I can ink and you can actually see what I'm doing. Yeah. Yep. So I used to mostly sketch with graphite, but there's so many reasons I don't do that except in certain cases. There's one, graphite smears way more easily. And then two, once I learned about this blue pencil technique, it completely changed how I do my regular my main illustration work because it's so useful. It saves me a bunch of time to just remove the blue in Photoshop than to erase everything after I've inked it. Almost completely removes a step that I was having to do. But the non-photo blue is what it's called, and that's exactly why it's not picked up well, because it's not supposed to be. Yeah, makes sense. I'll try to keep it interesting for you, audibly, since it's not as interesting visually right now. But hopefully it'll be fun once I do get to inking, because I'll be using my brush pens. And that always creates a much more dynamic line. More fun, interesting line. I said I'd make it interesting, but there's not really much to talk about. Just making each decision as I draw. I finish one flower and then I'm like, where's the next flower gonna go? What kind of shape should it have? Should it be longer? Should it be shorter? Should it be facing more toward the viewer or farther away? Let's give this one of those really long ones. It's like a dragon's tongue or something. All right, bleh. Oh wow, it's almost break time. That is surprising. It's another one of those days where it's like, I'll never get this done. But then the time still goes by and it's like, wait, how is it already this time of day? Reinforcing these lines for the outside part of the bee. Let's have one of these middle bits sticking out and we can't see the flower part that it's coming out of. In fact, let's do that more than once. Yeah. even though we want overlap. I'm actually avoiding doing it too much on the flower itself, because for every line that intersects with another line, that's visual energy, and it brings attention to itself. And we have so much going on. This is such an energetic little bit of the scene. I'm actually trying to rein it in by not having too many lines touching each other. Sometimes all I'm really seeing is the middle bit of the flower. I'm going to add just some of those lines without drawing the rest of the flower that it's coming from. Getting there. We're getting there. Wow. There's still this final edge, which is mostly populated by these super long tubes. So we're really close to done with this one flower. Let's have one really long tube coming out. You can't even see the flower it's coming from. I'm going to tackle this section here. Helps to turn the paper sometimes so you can keep getting the same shape without contorting your hand in awkward ways. So if you do have to contort your hand, it will often make the line not come out how you wanted it anyway. So now I'm thinking the flowers I'm drawing to fill in these spaces are actually underneath, because we do have this ball type of cluster. So that means we need some that are underneath that we're seeing. So maybe I can just draw a couple petals here and there. Even though the speech bubble is here, oh, you're not even seeing what I'm drawing. Even though the speech bubble is here, I'm going to draw the flower all the way out anyway. That way, if I need to adjust where the speech bubble goes, I won't have to redraw anything later. Some of these tubes are very, very long. I'm gonna look at the overall effect. I don't know why my camera won't stay focused, but it's really struggling. I'm gonna make sure I've got an even appearance as far as the outer edge goes. So we've got really long ones here, but there's not as many long ones over here, so let's add some. Maybe we can even have one coming over this little bumblebee so that it helps show that the bee is below. I think that's good up there. Okay, I think I'm done with the first flower. Yay! So let's do it again. Where's the next biggest flower? I actually have to rethink. Pull this up for a minute. I have to rethink the placement because this did not end up how I thought it would. It's higher up on the scene. In fact, it's all the way up here at the edge. So I had several small ones and this bigger one right behind here. But there's clearly not room for the big one anymore. So I think I'll just take these small ones and fill the space with them first and then see what looks right based on that. Because we can put one here as it is in the sketch and maybe one here and it's underneath this bigger bee, so we've gotten a nice overlap. And then we'll move on from there. So let's look for a different reference image. This is a really open, totally bloomed flower. Let's look for one that is either a little less along the way. Oh, it's actually break time, so I think I'll go on break. And then I'll come back and find one that's not quite so far in its development. But for now, we've been streaming for an hour, so let's take a break. I encourage everyone who's watching to do the same. I am going to put my Be Right Back sign on, and I'll be back in about 5 minutes. Hello everyone, I'm back. I hope you had a great break. Sounds like Sarah had a great break. I finished off my smoothie. So yummy. I love my smoothie so much. Also did some stretching, so I'm all primed and ready to go. Ready to draw flower number 2. No, I'm not ready to draw flower number 2. We need a reference image. Let's try to find one. It'd be cool if it's another one from top down, because that's what I'm drawing it as. Oh, look, here's somebody did one. Ah! Thank you, Andrea, person who posted this. Oh, hold on. My little chappy girl decided to come back down. Good girl. What's in my smoothie today? I had, oh, it was the rest of the frozen mango chunks with banana. And then the base is always the same. The base is a green, a bean, hemp seeds, creatine, though I realize I don't really need creatine anymore because it's not like I'm a bodybuilder. Like, I'm not doing strength championships or anything. Like, okay, I don't need the creatine anymore, but I gotta use it up. So it's got the creatine in there. Soy milk and there's something else. Oh, and soy yogurt. And the yogurt flavor today was vanilla. Vanilla bean. It's like that nice kind that has the little, you can see the little bits of vanilla bean in there. It was very, very good. I know it sounds weird to have greens and beans in there, but when you put, so I put 1 serving each of greens and beans, and then I put 4 servings each of fruit, so you can't even taste them, but you're still getting all of those amazing nutrients, so I highly recommend it. So this reference is perfect. We can see not just one partially bloomed, oops, sorry, I'm not holding it well. One partially bloomed. Oh, it doesn't show up very well at all on the camera. There we go. It's got even 2 more that we could use. So thank you to the person who posted this picture on iNaturalist. Let's add this. And I wanted there to be overlap between the flowers. So you can even see here that it's happening. This one is overlapping this one. So we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to have this big flower overlapping this next biggest flower. So we'll draw the outer bounds of this bottom flower. I want them to be about here, I think. Or should I have it overlap? Right now it's kind of next to. Maybe I'll actually scoot it away a little bit from that bee. Let's erase some so I don't forget. I don't want it to be so close. So I don't want it to be right up next to the bee like this. It either should be underneath the bee or it needs to be a little farther away. Because it's getting really close to one of those things I always talking about, a tangent. We don't want that. We don't want a visual tangent. Especially not with one of the main characters. If it's happening somewhere off to the side and it's like, whoops, I missed that one, that's okay, because it's in the background. But right here with our main character, no, we don't want that. Okay. So it's interesting, this flower is blooming off to the side, and then this one is sticking kind of off to the other side, and this one's sticking kind of down to the bottom. Oh, there's even yet another one, really teeny tiny and blurry. So I think that means that we could draw this blooming off to the side just as it is. I think I'll have it bloom away from this one though, because to me it makes sense that the plant would try to bloom flowers in all kinds of directions and not have the flowers compete with each other. So let's say the bloomy part is here. blooming down away from this one. And then we've got this cool, almost cactus-like texture on the part that's not bloomed yet. Scaly, I don't know. Yeah, it's like scales. It's really cool. I love drawing stuff from reference because I would never know this. I would never know that it looks like this. And it looks cool. I'm being a little too sketchy. A little bit more decisive with my lines. The scale pattern is great too because it's helping give shape, as three-dimensionality to this flower. Okay, the rest is going to be these pointy bits. So you're not really seeing so much flower petals, just a whole bunch of these tubes sticking out. They are blooming though. It's not just coming straight out. That little bit of an angle to it. And some are shorter, some are longer. I'm filling in the space with more tube shapes, but I'm not going to draw each individual one in its entirety, just like with the flowers up here. Just want to fill this space in and give it the right energy. So we're going to fill this in with color eventually. And that'll do a lot of work. We don't have to do everything with line. Let's add more on this upper edge. Well, it's the farthest away edge. It's not really upper edge. I think that's pretty good. Maybe the only thing I'd like to change a little bit here, now that I'm looking at the final result, is have a few pointing up the viewer. So basically you just got to make them shorter because of perspective, like you can see with my finger is long, but if it points at the viewer, it's just a small circle. Same thing here. Yeah, that's pretty good. I always say that and then I'm like, wait, here's another spot. Okay, now it's good. Yay! 2 flowers done, I think. Okay. I just wanted to shore up those outside lines there. Maybe we'll add another line right there. Okay. Well, we'll just keep using this reference, I think. It's a nice one with multiple blooms in a single shot. But where do I want to place the next one? Because I'm using the reference for the angle and the details, but the placement I want to make sense with the illustration, not just take it directly from that photograph. In my original sketch, oops, sorry, I'm not holding this high enough for you. In my original sketch, I had 3 more way smaller ones on other sides, but now we don't have the top half to work with because I drew it so high up. But we could still add at least one here and maybe another one on the other side. So we could have one underneath this bee, or we could have one underneath the speech bubble. Could also have one up here. Maybe I will purposefully leave these bees with less overlap, just to bring attention to them. This whole time I've been talking about how you want overlap so that it doesn't look too contrived. If it looks too contrived, then it's distracting. But having a sort of vignette around the principal characters can help direct the eye to them, especially now that I'm seeing how busy, I don't know if you can see it a little better now that there's so many lines, but it's getting very, very busy now with the flowers coming into the scene. So having a halo or vignette or whatever you want to call it around these main 2 characters could actually be useful in helping the viewer see what is the most important thing to see, which is these 2 bees with their speech bubbles. Although they're not speech bubbles because it's their wings, but whatever, you know what I mean. So I think that I will do the next one partially under this speech bubble. And it's lower down and less bloomed. In fact, it's not even really bloomed yet at all. There's just a little hint of pink. So this middle part actually looks really flat. And then there's sort of spikies coming out, like this just barely the start of those tubes that are all over the place once it really blooms. Main character bee made me laugh when you were talking about the layout, but it is. It's the main character. It's our hero bee. I don't know why it made you laugh, but whatever brings joy into your world, I'm happy. That kind of reminds me of one of the end lines in A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens says something like Scrooge didn't mind that people laughed at him now that he'd changed because it's better to have joy in the world, even if it's at his expense, than to not. And I was like, I love that. That is so positive. That's one of my favorite lines in the book, in the story. So whatever made you laugh, good. I'm glad. I just knocked my head on my lamp. There, I moved it. Maybe I won't whack myself with my own lamp. So this is actually pretty hard. I'm trying to draw these in a way that helps create this round shape. So the ball shape bud. I think that's what you'd call it. And they come all the way from the bottom too. Because it's a ball shape, so they need to come from the bottom too. I'm drawing them quite symmetrically, but they're not as evenly spaced as that. Just trying to capture this without spending too much time trying to be perfect about it either, because we don't need that. We just need the general effect. Almost there. I'm going to make these stick out farther. Hopefully I understand what I'm doing when I come to ink, because I'm looking at this and I'm like, that's kind of a confusing sketch. Hopefully I understand myself later when I come back to this. Alright, there's that bloom. It doesn't really matter that much, and I'm going to pull some away just so that I remember, okay, this is supposed to be underneath that speech bubble there. Since it's coming from, it's being viewed from above, I can't actually see the stem very well. I can sort of see it, but I'm wondering if it'll be best just not to draw it and just to have the shades of different greens and browns as a kind of blurry background. That's probably good enough for now. I can come back and draw more if it seems like it needs it. This particular photograph I'm looking at has two more. One is a teeny tiny little bud. Could use it somewhere else because it actually sits right here, so it's blocked by the speech bubble anyway. But there's another one right next to this bloom. Thinking about if or where I would want to use it. Might save it for somewhere else. Could put it here. Then I'll lose the halo I was thinking of keeping around these main character bees. I can't say that now. So I think it's gonna make Sarah laugh. My main character bees. I'll lose that halo effect if I use it there. Should I let that stop me though? Should I just go for it? Have some overlap. Well, I could wait. Let's draw some more other flowers. And then we'll see what the overall, because we might not need more here, because look at everything that's going on over here. Main character B! Yep. We've got 2 lead roles here. Okay, I'm looking for a completely different picture, a top-down view if possible. I am stumbling over my words today. I like looking for, oh, this is such a teeny tiny thistle. I like looking for different references because, oh, too bad it's blurry. Because then I can get a variety of looks. If I only use one, even if I modify it a little bit based on my imagination, I still don't have all the information about what it could look like. So for instance, this one, it's a much shorter plant. The ground is just right there. So I think that's the reason why the bloom actually looks different, because it's not as mature a plant in the first place. So this could be good for reference for one of the smaller flowers, because smaller means lower down, because we're looking from top down. Set that up. Where would I like to place this one? Where do I want a fully bloomed one? Because now that I've drawn these, I think I'll probably have 3 of these fully bloomed, really detailed flowers. I don't want to add too much more because it's just an explosion of visual information. And as it is right now, this bee is like lost. You can barely tell that the bee is there, but you can see this like firework of flower. So where would I like to put a smaller, but still attention-grabbing bloom? I do have one in my sketch that's right here. Or we could put it here. Right now in the sketch, this part is empty, but I kind of like putting it here. Let's do it. Let's put it here. So this one is very different. Overall, it's the same. It's those same long tube flowers, and they've got lots of tubes coming out of the tubes. But the middle is completely different. It's much smaller, much more closed. You can't see any of these little small bits in the middle. It just seems like, what if a smaller version of this came into full bloom? That's what it seems like to me. Let's say the overall size is something like this. And maybe we will have a little bit of those tubes coming under this bee right here. Those really long tubes like on this flower at the top that I already finished. So if we do that, the middle part is actually a lot of crisscrossing lines. It's fairly closed. But as we move away, it starts to open. And about at this point is where we start seeing those trumpet-shaped, star-ended flowers. So I'll start adding some of those in. And let's get those tubes coming out. This is the part of the process where I have little voice in my head that's like, that looks nothing like the actual thing. It's too simple. It doesn't look right. But then the experience part in my memory is like, no, this is fine. By the time we're done, it's going to look amazing. Just keep on keeping on. Don't listen to the critic. You know it's going to be awesome. Don't stop now. It happens every time, and I say it every time. During the middle part of making an illustration, especially a big project like this, there's always that doubt and questioning. Like, oh no. What have I done? This has been a huge mistake. Of course it's not. Even if it doesn't turn out how I expect, it's never a mistake because I still learn from it. It's still just experience. Just like in a video game. Video games imitate life. It's actual XP going into my XP bar and it will help me level up. Even if it's not the piece that actually gets me to the next level, it's still filling up that XP bar. Yep, IRL XP. That's exactly what it is. It really actually works like that. So making illustration after illustration, sketch after sketch, that's just grinding. Getting to the next level. Now we're just going to add a few little extra long ones. It's always how it is. There's these like spidery, super long ones here and there. And we've got just a few underneath this bee. Alright, that's probably good. Yay! Oh, sorry, it's not even all the way on this part of the drawing. I'll bring it down and then show this next flower. Flower number what? 4? 4! Hooray! 4 of these thistle flowers. And the nice thing with this one, the reference image I'm using has another unopened bud right next to it. And we can add that in here, or we could place it somewhere else. By in here, I mean this area where I just drew this flower. Could put it under this bee, or just have it right here. Let's put it right here. I like it here because it's so small that we couldn't really put it directly under this bee, and having it, the bee is so small that I don't think the overlap effect will be as strong as I'd like. So just add it down here. And it's very similar to the one that I drew up top. It's got a little white sort of bald patch. It looks like a bald patch, but it's something. I don't know what it is. It's the beginning of the flower, and then it's got these teeny tiny pink bits surrounding it, and then those scale-like parts, which I think are the flowers. They just haven't bloomed yet. That's what they look like to me. Again, using these to help create that three-dimensional shape. That's pretty good. Alright, let's look for another one. Another top-down view. Here's a white one. That's cool. We can use this. Oh, it's so pretty. The plant, the greenery. Oh, there's an ant in here in this picture. So if you look at the greenery, it's all gnarled and it's spiky and scary, and then you look at this elegant, beautiful flower. It's a little like a rose in that way. Okay. Although as I'm looking at that, it's not really top down, is it? It's more... Maybe I'll do a different one. This is from the side. I feel like it's one thing to have a partially bloomed one sticking off to the side because it's still in the process of going up, but a fully bloomed one at an angle when we are looking straight down doesn't seem right for this composition. Dang, once again, I just spotted the time on my watch and I'm like, what? How is it already this late? Even though this is really tough. Believe it or not, this is mentally really tough to do. I always say it, but thanks to live streaming is the reason why I've been able to get this stuff done, but without the pressure of trying to get a grade for school, which is what used to motivate me when I was getting my illustration degree. Because it's really hard to sit and stay seated and just work on it. But with my live stream, I'm like, oh no, someone might want to chat with me. It's very motivating to live stream my work. This one seems a little bit more from top-down view. It's probably still slightly from the side because you can see the stem coming out. But this particular bloom seems so round that it's probably can stand in for a top-down view either way. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Sarah. Yay! It is really tough. It's really tough sometimes. Just to stay focused. My brain is like, no, we could go tidy up the den some more. Or how about we check the email? What if there's something in the email? You know, it just really wants to procrastinate. Doing this kind of tedious stuff. But no, I must persevere. I think the next best spot for a really fluffy, bloomy flower is here. Look how blank it is. There's just nothing going on there. And I even have, in my original sketch, the next biggest flower is here, and it's not even cut off. This one is pretty big too, but it's cut off, and we ended up doing this one down here instead. We moved it over. And then we didn't do this one at all. So yeah, I'm going to put this flower where I actually planned to. We'll see how far we can get. There's 13-ish minutes left. So this flower I won't have coming out of the frame too much because I'll put some more next to it. As you can see in the sketch, I had several smaller blooms around it. So those will be the one that break the frame so that we can imagine that there's more of this world, even though all we can see is what's on this page. Oh man, this is really tough to draw. This particular one seems slightly different. The flowers aren't as opened. So it makes it look like just a million tubes, but it's still that same formula. That trumpet-like flower with 5 little petals at the end, and then that middle tube coming out. But all the petals are so tight in this bloom that they just look like more tubes. So it just look like a tube flower. Okay. So it's just hard to decide how do I start this, but just do smaller lines here and we'll grow it out. And I can also use what I've already created, the language that I've already established with these. I can bring that into this to help me too. It doesn't have to be 100% naturalistic with the photo reference. Oh, 10-minute warning. That's what that buzz was on my wrist. I don't know if that gets picked up. The vibration from my watch gets picked up on the mic. If it does, that's what it was. Whew. Another one done. Boom. Actually, I want to add a little tiny bit more right there. Another one done. Ah, we still have 8 minutes, so let's go back to one of those pictures with the buds in it. And we'll add some around this bloom. If I can remember which one it was. It's in the preview, scrolling through, they're all really blurry, so it's kind of hard to remember which one was it. Oh, here's one. Oh, I already used that one, though. Let's use a different one. There was one where I didn't use all of them yet. Top-down view. Where was it? Guess I scrolled a lot farther than I remember. Okay, it's not that one. Hold on. I didn't realize this person had a second photo in this series. Look at this bug doing their best. They've got their middle set of legs stretched to the furthest reaches. I don't know, they're trying to climb out of there or what. They're like, it looks like they're going, trying really hard. I was like, oh, they have a second photo. Maybe it has a different view and I can see something else to use as reference. Instead, it was an interesting development in what the bug was doing. Oh, here's one. Oh, but it's blurry. Blast it. The bud part is blurry. Not the main thistle flower. That was actually very nice. And it was top down too. I don't know how I missed it. What about this one? Nope. Here's an orange one. Oh, maybe that's it's gone to seed. Interesting. Not really what I'm looking for this, though. Well, these ones are from the side, but I think I can use my imagination at this point. Look at how perfectly round this one is, and it's very closed. It's not open at all. So let's try that. Got 5 minutes. See if we can add that in here. We'll just put it right here. And this is a great example of what I've been seeing a lot, how they grow in clusters. And that's how I've been trying to draw them. Which is so great. I didn't really choose thistle, I don't think, because of that, but it gives us a tool to show the depth by just these flowers naturally cluster, so we can naturally have them overlaying one another, overlapping one another. So we've just got this little part in the middle. It hasn't opened at all. And those scales, like here, are not nearly as developed. They look more like ridges instead of being tight next to each other. There's like a ridge here, and then there's a ridge here. What else? They got spikes. Spikes coming out. Boop. Where do the spikes land? They're at the tops. It's a very spiky plant. Even the flowers, even though they're soft, they look spiky. It's interesting, it also seems to have a sort of grid pattern between them. My version is not very precise. The grid is not exactly lining up, but as long as we've got the rhythm in there, that's good enough. So that should be good. A couple minutes. Maybe I can at least draw, excuse me, at least draw a circle for the next part. I don't know if I want to put something here. I kind of do, so that it's not just empty space right there. Just put another one here. Oh, perfect. I finished that one, and it's time to be done for the day. Yay! I'm going to put my stuff away because that's it for illustration this week. I'll hold this up for a last look. Well, we'll see what we can show with this blue pencil on white paper, but we added tons of flowers, including this huge, magnificent one at the top with some little mid-bloom buddies below, and then we added a couple to the bottom on the right side and a few to the bottom on the left side. There's still plenty more to add though. So I will return next week to work on this some more, and hopefully next week I'll be able to get to inking so that you can actually see what I'm working on without straining your eyes because it is so hard to see. At least it looks like I've done something now. Until this point, you could barely even see that I'd drawn anything. So at least it's got this generic, there is a drawing here look. Oh, thank you for all those rangers, Sarah. All those hearts. Wee-oo, wee-oo. I love seeing that in a row. Ah. All right. I will be back tomorrow for Chibi Friday. I really hope to be able to finish Chibi Kata de Ren for my friend Sketchy Do because I've got a big list of chibis after that to do. I think it might be Sarah's chibi next, but there might be someone else in between. We'll see. We got to finish Kata first, though. So I'll be back tomorrow at the usual time for that. I hope to see you then. Wow, we actually have 5 viewers today, so let's see if there's anyone to raid. See if we can have fun raiding anyone who's streaming. Well, let's go see Margot Simone Art. We haven't visited her in a while. Let's see. I wonder if I can I raid from my phone? That might be easier. Let's see. I think I just go to her channel, actually. Can I just go to her channel and like... Well, I'm seeing. See how to do this. Identity. There was some easy way to raid from the phone, and I did it last week, and now... Oh, I think I need to go... Sorry, I'm figuring this out on the fly. Stream Manager on the phone, and then raid channel. It's so much easier to raid on the phone than it is on the web, which is where I usually do from my Firefox browser. Let's do it this way. So she is sketching some spring mosslings. So it's so cool. I just click on her channel and then I click, I can show you right now. Click on her channel and then you click Start Raid. It's just so easy. Alright, so it's doing a 90-second countdown. I'll use this time to thank you for watching me today. And we had first time chatter Divine Pathways. Thank you so much for chatting with me and helping me think of probably what these spike things coming out of the flowers are. I hope to chat with you again. And Sarah, of course, thank you for always joining me. I'm so happy to have people to chat with. It's so much more fun for me. Oh, Eva's having a dream. Eva's having a dream. Oh my god. So thank you for joining me today. I'm trying not to override her dreams so you can hear it. But I'll be back tomorrow. Hope to see you then. And even if not, I think her dream is done maybe. Even if not, let me wish you a wonderful rest of your day. All right. My app says raid complete. I'm going to trust it. So if you're still on my channel now or watching the recording on YouTube, that's it for me today. I hope to see you tomorrow. Thank you for watching.